Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Of course, hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. And let me start by giving shouts out. I want to give a shout out to Deshaun again. You know why. Shouts out to Armando from the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind. Thank you. Tavon, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, man. You know why. To Kevin W., to Mojo, and to Arthur D. Thank you all from the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind. And Mojo, I want to send another thanks to you because you not only look out for me, but you also have looked out for many other content creators. So thank you. And MLR, for your previous contributions through Cash App, you have looked out for me and you have looked out for others. I've heard them thanking you myself. With this being said, I want to give a shout out to my son, Simba. It worked out that you did not leave early when you thought. Worked out for the better that you did not, for the reason that you told me. Now, the other thing too, Simba, focus on your recovery. Now, I'm going to tell you all about 2024 and the options that it's going to present. And in the title, you have seen the SBO standard, I know. Now I'm going to tell you that SBO stands for Simone Biles-Owens. And you were right to wonder, well, what does that mean? The Simone Biles-Owens standard. Well, some of you already know exactly. Once you knew that it was the SBO standard, you knew exactly Once you knew that SBO stands for Simone Biles-Owens, you now know what the SBO standard means, because I talked about the Malcolm X standard many a times. And many of you know, if you've heard me mention it before, you know the Malcolm X standard, which y'all should have made a hashtag. Not for me, but you should have made a hashtag for the benefit of the men of Black America and the rest of the English-speaking diaspora as well. Hell, Spanish-speaking diaspora, while we're at it, we should have made this a hashtag. And I was hoping that it would be. But the Malcolm X standard, as you know, and for those who don't know, means that when you become a former Idnis, you become a former Pookie, a former Ray Ray, you don't even try to keep the affectations of the streets and that life. It means we keep the masculinity and the manhood, and we throw out the machismo and the chest thumping. That stuff goes out the window. We don't need that. We are not gorillas. I might look like one, but we are not gorillas. They don't do all of the chest thumping and the displaying that we do. It means you throw this stuff out. You now refine the machismo into masculinity and manhood. You go beyond it. Machismo, well, that's the raw and unfinished product. It is incomplete. It is supposed to be internal. Once machismo by itself shows up in front of others, you have failed. The machismo is supposed to be refined into masculinity, which is then refined into manhood. These are steps. This is what you do rightly and how we do it rightly. And I don't think anybody gets it perfect. I'm not saying that we do, but that's the step, that's the program. And you can tell when somebody's trying that. It's not just about the style. It's more so about the substance. That is the difference. The machismo is a style. Masculinity is style with some substance to it. Manhood is the substance. The style is whatever is necessary. The style is what works. What is the most aerodynamic for travel? That is its style. I'm going to say this about the Simone Biles-Owens standard now. Simone Biles-Owens standard means that if she is a go-getter and she goes after what she wants in life, then she goes after you. You don't have to apply this standard and hold traditional women to that particular standard for one reason. If you have to pursue her, then you know what? You call the shots. If she goes after her education, which traditional women may do, she goes after some education, she does these things, then you turn around and you pursue her. That traditional woman still knows you're the boss, and that's the final word. She does what you say. You take the responsibility for your decisions, but she does what you say. The non-traditional, the modern woman goes after everything in life she wants but the man. Now, what's the reason for that? To drive home the message that you are not valuable. Now, this starts off as a subconscious thing. You get it from society. It's socialized, but it's not articulated to you or to her. But the older you get, the more open and obvious this message becomes, the more conscious they are of it, and the more conscious they make you of it. You are a man, therefore not valuable. And that's why it is that other women will sit up and say that they go after what they want in life, but not the man. Muslima, at least in name, I think who I believe her name is Brown Fireball, if I'm not mistaken, made a video about Simone Biles-Owens. And I call her that because she wrote that on her own social media. I think it was Instagram. She wrote Simone Biles-Owens. Islamically speaking, she's not required to change her name. I'm not saying she's Muslim. She's not. I am saying that in our faith, that's actually one thing where we, the Muslims, are different from the rest of the black manosphere. And we're going to be, wherever the religion says it, not the Arabs, but wherever the faith itself requires something, we're going to be different. There is no requirement that a woman change her last name when she gets married. That's actually not expected because she was born to her parents. Her children from you will be named after you. So my wife did not change her last name. I've never married and had a lady change her last name in the marriages because I've been Muslim every time I got married. Alhamdulillah, I hope to keep it that way. But the thing is that in our case, Simone Biles-Owens was at least consistent. At the very least, she was consistent and she was honest. I have to tip my hat to Simone Biles-Owens. See, the Western woman, like Brown Fireball as her screen name, her YouTube name, I think that's what it is, as she says, and she said exactly what I thought she was going to say when I saw the first minute of the video. She said, "You don't pursue men." Excuse me. We don't have step around here. And if you Muslim from Lahore, Pakistan, I'm sorry, Pakistan, as y'all love to say it, well, I'm from Blackistan. I don't mean Niggistan. I'm not talking about the dysfunctional collective set of ghettos. I'm talking about black land, black America, and before that, black Africa. And we don't have step. You know about this because a lot of Africa is Muslim. And that is my heritage. We don't have step with this stuff. You know that we're supposed to speak a straightforward and honest word, ma'am. If you go after things in life that you want because you were empowered, then you do what Simone Biles did. And as a Western woman, because apparently you grew up in the West, you must do the same thing that Simone Biles did. You see, 2024 must also be the year in which we are fair to the daddy daughters. They became dads, they had daughters. That's normal, that's natural, that's supposed to happen. But that means being fair to daddy daughters means that you go hard in the paint on the ones who have daddy's little princess syndrome. That's different. You can love your daughter, but your daughter, while she is your daughter, is not going to remain your little girl. She must grow up if she lives long enough. The only other option is she dies young, which is unthinkable for many of you. Parents were not made to bury their children. We barely do well burying our own parents. So if you don't want that other option, then you must prepare her for adulthood. And in any society, traditional or not, women have to grow into adulthood. And the problem is that these daddies with DLP syndrome, daddy's little princess syndrome, whether they got sons or not, DLP is the definition. That is the defining line between a dad with daughters and someone that we're going to have to make it a standard to correct and go hard in the paint against in 2024 and should have been doing a long time ago. Here's the issue. DLP sufferers are the ones that look at the tough choices in life that any responsible adult must make. And he says, well, my daughter doesn't have to make these tough choices. She gets a man that is more man than me, and he's wealthier than me, even though he's got to be younger than I am. And she gets everything she wants in a man. He never sits her down and says, listen, sweetheart, if you're going to watch these Disney cartoons, understand that they're not real. It is okay to watch them for entertainment if you've been behaving yourself like a good girl, because you got to take privileges away from badly behaved kids in order to discipline them, right? Boys or girls. So he has to tell her this is fiction. It is not real. It's entertainment. When the movie's off, it's over. You live in the real world again. And in the real world, men are not princes and women are not princesses anymore. Those days have been gone. And even back then, very few were princes and princesses. And you will not live in a castle or in a palace. And the men that you want will not have these castles and palaces, and the men that want you will not have them. And you will have to make some tough choices, and men will also have to make some tough choices to be your husband. And it is, in other words, you will have to settle, and the man that loves you will have to settle for you even if he loves you. And it is not necessarily your fault, but everyone must settle for something because of man's imperfection and because of humanity's imperfections. You will have tough choices to make in life when it comes to jobs, everything, and even when it comes down to men. And I am going to vet the man for his character. And you may have to choose between the character you need him to have and the money you want him to have. You might have to make that choice. See, a responsible daughter-daddy will tell his girl this when she is young, when she is old enough to talk, he'll let her know this. Whatever age his son is old enough to know that he's got to be a man when he grows up and he got to make tough choices is the age at which he tells his daughter that she will have to make tough choices, because even if she'll be a woman, she's still going to have to be an adult if she lives long enough. 2024 needs to be the year. We need to make it the year that they get this message. And I say this not because I am a misogynist. I say this because I am not a misogynist. The little girls right now are still innocent. They didn't do nothing. They were born into this mess. The women who are old enough with whom we are at war because they're at war with us were born into this mess. Current generations didn't start this mess. They inherited it, but they chose to continue this. And so we are in war with them or coming out of it, depending on where you live. But as I stated before, the reactions to Simone Biles-Owens merely telling the truth in an interview and Jonathan Owens going ahead and taking the cue from her was enough. The reactions to that were enough to show us that they are still at war with us, because they believe that Jonathan Owens, no matter what kind of work he does to become his best and get into the NFL, does not deserve to be validated by a woman that also has her own accomplishments. That's what the work they were saying. No, Simone Biles did what she was supposed to do. I don't respect her for going after that white Brazilian, but at the very least, she might actually be colorblind. I don't know. Or racial. I don't know. It seems like it. I respect her because she is consistent and she does not lie. Not about things like this. He didn't say that she messaged him first until she said it in the interview. Look at it. She said, yeah, we matched, but I messaged you first. He said, yeah, you did. Yeah, she wasn't scared. He still was respectful. He turned it into her courage. The women are paranoid. Black, white, and otherwise. They are paranoid, and that's why they're saying what the hell they're saying. But more importantly, they hate you, gentlemen. So it's still a war. So what we do, because it's a war, is we say, no, if you want one of us, then you do what the hell she did, because you're going to do that for everything else in life you want. Do it for us, or fuck the shuck up and drive me to the airport and take this gas money. That's the standard. That's what we need to make 2024 about. I'm not saying this is the year of that. You decide if it is. You collectively make the choice. You press the share button on this and you send it to somebody else. And if it goes around enough, as I stated, the message is more important than the messenger. If it goes around enough, then you will collectively make this that year. 2021 was the year that the Black manosphere went mainstream, but we didn't necessarily plan that. Kevin Samuels went viral. I remember that because that was the last time that I was on a plane to the United States when he broke 1 million subscribers. And yes, I was pissed that he had 1 more year left of life. Less than that, actually. This was June. Then in May of the following year, I found out he passed away. So he made 2021 the year in which the Black manosphere, actually, to be honest with you, the audience, his audience, and the people they knew collectively decided that 2021 was going to be the year that the Black manosphere went viral and mainstream. I'm asking you to collectively decide that 2024 is going to be the year of the Malcolm X standard and the year of the SBO standard. And the year in which we make sure that the DLP sufferers, DLP syndrome sufferers, understand that the days of their daughters even being able to expect that they're not going to have to make tough choices in life as they become adults is over. And that we're going to demand all that adulthood they show in the workplace, all that adulthood that they show in the university, all that adulthood that they show in every other facet of life, we are now going to demand that they show us too. They ain't got to be men, but they got to be grown. Make 2024 the year that everybody understands that those of us thinking Black men that anybody would want or want for their daughters are not going to be even so much as be sticking our dinglings up in overgrown kids. We're not even doing that because the societies have already made it such that if you just simply fornicate with dingbat broads, you have to pay dearly. What the hell you think these Instagram models are doing? You know who you notice? Brittany Renner is willing to tell everybody she banged except the regular guys. She said earlier 8 regular guys, but they can't keep their mouth shut. She doesn't want anyone knowing they hit that because that's a win for them, socially speaking, in the N-word context. But she wants to write a book and then talk about all of the famous guys she done banged and let bang her. Because she's probably too lazy to do much in the bed. And people that have been around her or been within close distance of her have actually stated that she has an odd smell. We're going to make this the year, if you are playing your cards right, we make this the year that it is understood now that even Brittany Renner can't get no peen. I mean, that already happened. She started to say, she later on started to say, I can't even get anybody to come through and smash. Yeah, because you done told all your business. Apply this to others that are not even Brittany Renner. When you're not famous and she's not famous and she's just trying to make a booty call, understand that that's not what the hell she's trying to do. She's trying to get something else out of it after you done gave her the nut. DMX's lyrics have since then been answered. What you want from me? I gave you what you gave me, boo, a nut. Yeah, they always want more afterwards. They demand more. Make this the year in which we now send the message. If you said all you want is a nut, you don't ask for nothing else. We're telling you we're raising our standards and we want more than that nut. Make this that year. That SBO standard, be ready for the backlash for it, though. Be ready. And to Brown Fireball, put the proper clothes on. Hell, try not even showing your face if you really want some respect for your privacy. And stop talking this feminist misandrist shit the non-Muslim women have taught just to ruin the family structure from which you come. And understand this, Brown Fireball, if I'm getting your name right. You're setting yourself up. When you tell women in the West, don't pursue a man, hell, if you tell traditional women not to do that, you're screwing up. You tell Western women not to pursue a man, you are setting yourself up already because you're on camera saying it, and you're setting up those who listen to you to wind up like Ebony K. Williams if they are lucky, but not necessarily with all those dollars and the career either. You're setting them up. Lolo Jones, miserable. Ebony K. Williams, miserable. You are setting them up to wind up alone, whether they want it or not. And most of the time, when they get older, that's when they don't want to be alone. Don't do this to them. And the elder women that are telling you the stuff that they're telling you are not leading you correctly because they can't. It's not possible. They can't bring themselves and control themselves enough to tell you, you know what, I don't like the solitude. I mean, to have it in spurts and at times is okay, but I don't like the constant solitude, the life of solitude with no breaks in between. I don't like that. I don't like knowing that I'm going to have to do all of this by myself. And I don't have other options. I don't like that. And I simply didn't have the courage to come along and tell you this because I didn't want to admit that men have any value of their own. That's the problem. All of this comes about because you all don't want to admit that men are worth anything and have ever been worth anything. Well, now you're going to see more and more women shedding tears. We've already seen it, but now we're going to see more women shedding tears than what we saw before. Now we're going to see more women sitting up and crying with the cameras pointed at their faces as tears are coming. And they're saying, I was wrong. It's already started. And we're going to go ahead and make this the year if you play your cards right and you make the right decisions, my audience members. We're going to make this the year in which more of them are no longer even believed by anybody unless that's the confession that they make. Sapphire, as I stated in my last upload, already has habits that make her inferior to other women in the West. This inability to even agree with people that agree with you. And I know that that is specifically a Western black woman trait. I know that because I've witnessed that myself. My namesake in Atlanta, you know who you are. What's going on, bro? Was married to another friend of mine. She was an attorney. Yeah, a lady attorney. And she helped me out. She is good at being an attorney for the most part. She actually had to learn some communication skills, and she admitted that. I give her credit for that. But there was one thing she could not turn off the attorney even at home. That's why they ain't together. And the other thing too is that she could not, and she's lucky, she got remarried. She got another chance. But she could not turn off the attorney at home. And the other thing that she was not able to do is that she could not even agree. She could not admit when she did agree. There were times when she did not have an opinion about something until my namesake had an opinion. Then hers was the opposite because she's an attorney. And my cousin, Salty, yeah, that's his nickname, had to sit up and say, you know what? I ain't going to her house no more. She can come visit me, but I ain't going to her house no more. Because she argue about any and everything. In my house, I can say, stop it. You in my place. We ain't arguing about that. Now drink this beer. And watch this damn comedy on TV. Crazy self. And that was funny. He's hilarious. The way he talks, it is funny as all get out. I need to hit him up. Say, hey, what's happening, Salty? Send me a recent photo of yourself, man. Let me see how many gray hairs you got with your old ass. I miss him. Now, he's one of those. He was actually one of the first, if you want to call them such, BMPTs. He was one of the, if you want to call them such, passport bros. He was one of the first. He was going down to Brazil and the DR before everybody knew about it like that. He's one of those first few black professional men that were going down there. And I said, look, are they wife material for you? And he was like, and he even said, he said the ones that are wife material don't want to leave. At the time, the discussion was not about not taking them into the United States. That wasn't the discussion in those days. At the time, the discussion was about, well, you know, you have to provide, so would they come and live here? And it was like the ones that are, they're all wife material women there, but they don't want to leave. And to a certain extent, who can blame them? I mean, there's money here, but there are other things that are worth more than money to them. And I said, yeah, you got a point. Yeah, he was one of them. So we have to make this easy to see and understand. That we're not here for the purposes of pursuing them. We're not here to pursue women that pursued everything else in life that they wanted except us because we're the least valuable. We're not willing to accept that. We've held each other accountable as men. We have done so. I'm doing it now. Holding an adult male whom I love accountable for where he was wrong. And that's the thing. We will do that. And I expect it to be tested with something along those lines at some point. I expected that. I've had to do this with friends of mine before, and I've had to do it even with myself. But see, we keep on doing this. And part of the Malcolm X standard needs to be that we are no longer holding men accountable for failing with Westernicias. And we're not looking up to men who succeed with Westernicias. Even those guys that are selected have one role. And that is to tell us what the hell these broads are hiding from the rest of us. That's it. What is the other side that we don't see? And to be honest, in the black manosphere, those dudes have been doing that. They've been fulfilling that. They've said to us, I'm one of those guys. When their phone rings, they don't answer. They say there ain't nobody. I'm that dude. That's who I am. Man, they scandalous. They've come along and they've said, you know what? Yeah, I'm that dude. She told me that so-and-so was actually my son, but she had her husband raising him, thinking it was his. And that's low down scandalous enough, but sometimes they didn't know they were dads. But that's what they're doing in the black manosphere. They're giving up the secrets. They're giving up the good. That's what they're supposed to do. And it is the same thing with these Westernicias. What they need to be doing is they need to be honest. And if they ain't giving up the game and going against it like Crimson Cure and pursuing who they want like Simone Biles-Owens, then the only thing they're good for is their profession, is their jobs and their careers. That's going to be where they are any good and nothing else. There will be nothing personal that we can offer them because they can't offer it to us. And they need to be in their personal lives by themselves. It's okay that they got the jobs, but they will need to be by themselves in their personal lives if that's all they got to offer. We don't blame families for looking out for the interest of their lady relatives legitimately. We blame them when they succumb to DLP syndrome and start acting like because they love her, she doesn't have any tough choices to make in life. That's where we start to hold the blame. I've gone on long enough. This is a half hour. And I mean it from the bottom of my black heart, from the depths of my black mind, when I thank you for listening. And I do hope that this helps. I mean it when I say that too. I want this to benefit you. As always, black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Because Simone Biles-Owens detractors don't like it. And go ahead and admit that, when it comes to the West, if it's going to be in the West, you need to be the bad B word, as they want to say. Go ahead, be the sassy one, be the zesty one. Understand that you are the prize, especially in the West, because they never accepted how much of the prize you were. So make them do more. Go ahead and do that. Black patriarch until extinction or judgment day. And this time when the plane docks at the gate, I would say to you to do both. Go ahead and get some of that merchandise and punch in the Cash App button, only the numbers that are very easy for you. Nothing that's going to be difficult for you. Save that for the merchandise. Help out one of our younger brothers. Thank you again for flying on Jet Black Airways with us, where jet black is also a verb, and keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.